Hi, I'm Aeon. This is a video. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to more Geometry Dash. I asked my Discord server for their Geometry Dash hot takes, and there are quite a lot of them. As you can see here, my moderator Hyoko made a form, and there are 274 of them. I'm going to be going through them, and we're going to be talking about hot takes. I love Geometry Dash hot takes. I think they're funny, so hopefully there's some spicy ones. Anyway, without further ado, let's just hop into it. The first one is Gdps 2.2 levels are overrated. Don't know whether or not this should be a hot take. It's kind of like reminiscent of early 2.0 in my opinion, where they're decent levels, but they just kind of like utilize the mechanics to utilize the mechanics instead of actually trying to implement them in any meaningful way. However, that might just be me not liking GDPS stuff, and I think that 2.2 GDPS is kind of a screw you to Robtop and all of his hard work by playing the game early. That's beside the point though. I think this is a very cold take. Ship is easier on mobile than it is on PC. That's just a learning curve on your end. You are just objectively wrong. That's not how easier works. You might find it a little bit easier because you are used to mobile. I found mobile ship to be way harder when I started playing on PC. However, now I could never go back. You just haven't taken the time to learn yet. That's like me switching to up arrow for the first time and being like, wow, this sucks. I play worse now, as if I didn't just change how I play the game, and obviously I'm gonna be worse at it because I don't have 5 years of playing experience with it. Classic 1.9 style is greater than 1.9 GDPS style. I 100% agree. And hear me out. I think that 1.9 GDPS style, the levels, great. They're fantastic. They're very well-crafted levels. However, they don't have that 1.9 charm. Yes, they are limited to 1.9 and the limitations of the 1.9 editor. However, they don't have the same object limit. The thing that makes 1.9 GDPS levels, in my opinion, not really feel like 1.9 levels is that they can break the object limit. The object limit in 1.9 was very, very low. You didn't have a lot of objects to work with, and that's what made the levels great. They don't have that charm that 1.9 levels originally had. They are cool experiments to see how 1.9 levels would look with today's tools, such as object limit hack. However, they aren't, in my opinion, 1.9 levels, and I don't think they should be compared as such. They're just like a limitation. But you also have newer tools today, right? You have stuff like object limit hack, you have scale hack and all that stuff to make things easier for yourself to create good stuff. Am I crazy for thinking that? I don't know, maybe I am. Map packs are not that bad. I agree. I think map packs are overhated. I've been saying this for a really long time. I think this goes for both sides of the spectrum. People who call map packs absolutely horrible and terrible have just clearly never played a bunch of old levels. If you play other levels from that era, you will realize that the map pack levels were the better levels from that time period. Are they amazing? No, they're clearly flawed because the game was much younger. We've had an extra 8 years since since the map packs came out to get better at game design and making levels. So obviously they are outdated gameplay wise specifically. However, they aren't awful. They play decently. They're just not perfection, right? They aren't as good as levels today, obviously, because as I said, we've had time to develop and get better at stuff, but they aren't horrible. It's the same reason as to why I think a lot of people calling insert popular level here really amazing. It's just you haven't played enough of the really good levels that people just don't talk about, because there's a lot of that stuff. I had a discussion about that recently, actually, about Ruthless, how people were like, oh, Ruthless is such a good level, and I was like, no, well, it's good. Ruthless is a good level visually. However, if you've played more than 50 demons, you will know that there are other levels that look very similar to Ruthless that are just executed better. Ruthless is good in the scope of extreme demons, specifically the top 50. However, if you compare it to other levels that have a very similar visual style, you will realize that Ruthless is just an okay level that has decent execution at best. And I think the same goes for map packs. People call them shit because they just haven't played the real garbage yet. Disliked medium demons are more enjoyable than modern demons. I think there's a case to be made. However, saying more enjoyable than modern demons, period, I don't agree with. Simply because of the fact that there are so many modern demons that you just can't really compare it. There's been like, how many demons rated in the past year? Like, I don't know, 1,000 almost, right? And a lot of them are really good. However, if you don't play all of them, you will never know. If you played those and then you play like a handful of modern demons, yeah, you could say disliked demons are more fun. I feel like it really depends on what you play. I think there are definitely modern demons that are way worse than some of the most disliked medium demons and just disliked demons in general. However, I also think that most modern levels are just simply better. The most enjoyable levels can only be extremes. I think this just comes down to personal preference and what you value in gameplay. A lot of people just enjoy the prospect of just getting better at a level, improving at a level, and progressing at a level. If that's what you enjoy, yeah, the most enjoyable levels can only be extreme demons once you get to a certain point, because, well, those are the only levels that pose any significant challenge once you get good at the game. However, if you are someone like me and you just enjoy playing the game and enjoy G as an art form, no, obviously not. Most of the best levels aren't extreme demons. Hell, most of them don't even exceed hard demon. But that is besides the point. It really doesn't matter. I think it just comes down to how you enjoy playing the game, really. Unbalanced gameplay is a good thing. I agree. And this is going to come as a shock to a lot of people because I know there are very many levels that I infamously do not like for having very unbalanced gameplay. However, I do think there is a specific type of unbalance that I think is really good. Take Nella, for instance, where you have progressively harder and harder gameplay up until you get to a point where you get to mountain, then it's like super duper ultra mega easy for like 15% of the level, and then it becomes super hard. That kind of progression, in my opinion, makes the level much more nerve-wracking, and it makes for a very tense feeling, right? It creates tension, which I think makes for a really cool experience, all things considered. Same goes for Neutra. The thing about Neutra that I really think is really cool about balancing is that the first 25% of the level, free drop, insanely hard, you were never going to pass it. And then from the drop, every single part gets progressively harder until it peaks at the very end. Then you have like a little 4-second intermission where nothing really happens, and then you get thrown into the hardest shit ever imaginable. To a lot of people, that is awful balancing. You have a hard part, easier part, hard part, right? It just creates an everlasting loop of you get nowhere, you randomly get really far, and then you die really far because the ending is silent. Some people don't like that. Some people do like that. I think it really depends on who you ask. I think unbalanced gameplay can, in theory, be really good. It really just depends on how it's executed. So I agree with it to an extent. To an extent, of course. I'm not going to discuss this one, but I just thought it was funny. It says Tartarus was never top 1. The golden was always harder, even though Tartarus was released before it. I just thought that was funny. Anyway. Keep going. The demon list leaderboard system should be removed entirely. I agree with an asterisk. What I mean by I agree with an asterisk is that I think that the demon list as a whole is fundamentally flawed in the sense that it is never going to be an objective system, and it also encourages people to play levels that they don't like. What I mean by asterisk, though, is that I don't think it should be the case, because I think that the point system encourages people to try and push the game's boundaries. That's always just been the case. The most popular levels are often levels that push some form of boundary. Take Master Game. It took the fundamentals of GD, flipped it on its head, made an entire RPG out of it, right? Stuff like that. I think that is an important aspect of the demon list, where it pushes people to play harder levels. Without a competitive side of Geometry Dash in the sense of the pointercrate leaderboard and point system, people aren't going to try and push boundaries. That's just how it works. If there is no competitive value out of getting good at a game, people aren't going to get good at a game. I don't need to get good at a game and be competitive about a game because I value the game entirely differently. However, for a lot of people, that competitive aspect of Geometry Dash is incredibly important, and that's just kind of like how it is, right? If you want to play the game for list points and you want to be better, go for it. It's entirely up to each individual person, but I do think the list gets a lot more value than it really needs to, in the sense that people take it way too seriously. And a lot of people think that it is the holy grail of GD. I don't agree with that, though. But I do think that the point system should remain simply because of the fact that it pushes boundaries. AQ is insane demon difficulty, and I beat the level. I think I've had this discussion before. I cannot really comment on this because I beat AQ when I was way worse at the game. It was one of the first levels that I beat when I came back into the game, and it took me quite a decent amount of time. However, the way I like to look at it, and the reason why I believe that it should be extreme demon, is the fact that I beat it very close to Thanaphobia, and AQ took me like 4 days, and I playtested the level, and Thanaphobia I beat in like 2 hours, and Thanaphobia is considered to be a top 40 insane demon, I think. So that's where like my basis stands. Obviously, I can't really comment on it. However, the thing that I believe personally about the whole like insert popular level should be either higher or lower difficulty is strictly in a basis of the player that talks about it generally does not have a lot of experience with that kind of difficulty. And what I mean by that is that most of the top players, or most of the top demon grinders that I know, agree that AQ should be extreme demon. And it's not because of the fact that they're bad. They just have beaten a bunch of insane demons and a bunch of extreme demons. The way that I fundamentally look at AQ and comparing AQ to why I think it should be extreme demon is that I personally found it harder than a lot of the other extreme demons that I've beaten. Can name very few insane demons that I personally think it's harder or easier than. And I think that balance makes it be like, okay, yeah, Aku is Extreme Demon. Obviously, that's different for everyone, and I'm not saying that just because you think Aku is Insane Demon, you haven't beaten a lot of levels. I don't know who you are. However, what I notice a lot, especially on like the GD subreddit and stuff, is that people just try and say Aku is Insane Demon because they have played one really hard Insane Demon and one other really hard Extreme Demon, and they've come to the conclusion that Aku is closer to the Insane Demon than the other Extreme Demon, which is just wrong, right? That's just not how it works. Obviously, it's up to each individual. Everyone has different skill sets. I have a lot of opinions that people disagree with. Gverbix is a very noticeable one. Oh, this is a good one. If a creator genuinely enjoys mass-producing levels for creator points, then we shouldn't care. If you don't like it, think they are all boring, just don't play those levels and go on with your life. 100% agree. I don't know if this is a hot take. I do not know if this is a hot take. However, I 100% agree with it. There are how many rated levels? Like 31,000 rated levels in Geometry Dash. Why should you care about the 200 levels made by one person that you don't really care about, right? Like when it comes to people like Yun or Viprin, they have a bunch of levels that a lot of people just don't care about. Don't play them. There's a lot of really good levels. The only people I think like realistically should be able to complain about levels being really bad and mass produced are the people who beat everything. People like Smithy, Gorma, Mr. Spaghetti, who have beaten quite literally every single level from auto up to like hard demon, because they've beaten so many things that they're like, yeah, they're just bad. They're just worse than the average level. Obviously, it's still just their opinion. Like, there are going to be people who like Yun levels, even though Mr. Spaghetti doesn't like it, for instance. I don't know if he actually dislikes Yun. Besides the point. That's just an example. Anyway, I think people should just not care too much. It's kind of the same as... I find complaining about people who creator point farm is the same as people complaining about people just beating hard Extreme Demons for list points. It's kind of like, why do you care? There are so many levels in this game that keep getting rated. Like, Yun can't out-create the other 3,000 creators who have creator points, right? So just play other people's levels. There's a ton of really, really good levels out there. Just play other levels. Don't care. Fueling yourself with that negative energy about complaining about other people doing things that you don't necessarily want to do yourself is silly and goofy and stupid. I think Icon Unlock mod is fine. There's nothing really wrong with it if you don't claim to own the set legitimately. I don't understand the last part of this sentence. If you don't claim to own the set legitimately, no one's gonna ask you, and I've never been asked, hey, Aeon, did you unlock these icons legitimately? Because you just assume that everyone does it. This might come from a standpoint of me just liking to play the games that I like to play. Just, I don't know. I think there's something fun about unlocking the icons. Back in the day, when I was playing mobile and back before Steam and everything, you just actually had to unlock all the icons yourself, and it was part of the fun, just unlocking stuff. Like getting the 30 demon icon was really cool because you'd beaten 30 demons, which was it's the highest difficulty, and it took a long time to unlock it. Using that icon legitimately felt awesome. Yes, using icon hacks, no one gives a shit, right? We are so far ahead of the achievements now that 95% of people would not even bat an eye. I don't even remember how to unlock 99% of the icons because I unlocked them like 9 years ago, right? However, I think you're actively removing part of the fun about the game yourself by not allowing yourself to accomplish things and unlock the in-game achievement, because most of the icons are unlocked through in-game achievements. Yes, the shop icons, whatever, I don't care. But the icons you unlock through achievements, I think part of the fun is just unlocking them yourself. If you don't want to unlock them, go for it. I don't care. People play the games however they want to. However, I think you are actively avoiding to have more fun with the game by unlocking everything through cheats. It's like using a Game Shark or an action replay for your Pokemon games. Just because you got big fluke progress doesn't mean you're able to beat the level. I actually use this kind of mentality when playing levels myself. If I have like a massive progress fluke, I just don't even think about the progress fluke itself. One of the reasons why I managed to like get through mentally with Hard Machine was because on my first day from 0, I got 49% and I wasn't able to match that for like another 2 weeks, right? And the reason why I didn't go absolutely mentally insane doing that was because I was like, I fluked it. I fluked what, like 29 to 49? There was no shot in hell I was gonna get back there for a while, right? I just got really lucky. I think part of the reason why people get really frustrated with levels is because of the fact that they either make very quick progress and then just think like, oh, I did it one time, why can't I not do it again? I think that especially accounts for progress flukes, where you just play the game as if you never got there to begin with. You're still probably good enough to beat the level. I just wouldn't account for it, right? Rate standards are too low. I think this one is interesting because I get where people are coming from when it comes to the rate standards being too low. However, I want to propose a completely different side of the argument. Having lower rate standards for visuals specifically is not inherently a bad thing, nor for gameplay, because people like different kinds of gameplay. Having more levels be rated leaves a much larger entry for people to get into the game because there is a bigger likelihood of people finding levels that they truly enjoy. Yes, a lot of people are going to immediately go to the most popular tab. That's just kind of how it works. However, having more rated levels means that you can have more fun by just playing the game the way it's intended. For the people who just play extreme demons and hate themselves, that's not the case, obviously. However, for me personally, when I was doing the January grind, the sheer quantity of and difference in quality of levels honestly was really refreshing. There were some really bad levels that I really absolutely hated, and that's just kind of how it is. That was me forcing myself to play every single level. However, a very large majority of the levels that I played, I really thoroughly enjoyed. And having that quantity of levels to choose from makes it easier for a lot more people to find something that they personally enjoy, and I think that's part of the beauty of the game. Yes, the rate standards are low if you go about it like, oh, the rates should be very good all the time. That's a stupid metric. Because first and foremost, you're not the one choosing what gets rated anyway. That's Rob. And I think Rob rating a lot of levels just means that more people get to play more levels. And I think that's just awesome. I think that's cool. I think complaining about rate standards is a really dumb thing because the game is about creating levels and beating levels. And if the rate standards were really high, there would be very few levels to beat. Decode is a medium demon and is harder than a lot of easy medium demons. That is a fault of easy medium demons being rated wrong and should be easy demons, and not Decode being a medium demon. As a person who has beaten 1,544 easy demons in this game, which is practically all of them, I can safely say that Decode is in the middle range. I would say Decode is maybe harder than 1,000 of the easy demons that I've beaten, and there's a good 500 that are harder than it. Decode should 100% not be medium demon, and again, this circles all the way back to what I talked about earlier, how people who claim X popular level is underrated or overrated in difficulty just hasn't played a lot of levels. I can confidently say though that yes, there are easy medium demons that are easier than Decode. However, those medium demons should just be easy demons, not the other way around. This one is interesting. People put top players on too big of a pedestal. I 100% agree with this. I do think a lot of top players are just viewed as these great people. I'm not going to be naming names. However, we have seen over the many years that I've been a part of this community that top players are just players who are good at the game, and that does not necessarily mean anything. Don't put people on a pedestal for something that they have not accomplished yet. You cannot put me on a pedestal for being a fantastic person because I have not shown that I am a fantastic person. All I do is make silly, goofy jokes on the internet and make dumb videos and stream. You don't know if I'm a great person for all you know. I'm the worst person ever imaginable. So don't do that. You are idolizing 14, 15, 16-year-olds that only know one thing, and that is clicking a button to play a video game. They are not great people, and they're still developing. Yes, they are edgy, but however, putting a lot of these teenagers on a pedestal, you're also enabling that kind of behavior where they act like idiots and they see a positive response from people being like, wow, being an idiot makes people like me more, and then they become even more idiots. And that's a very big rabbit hole that you do not want to fall down into. So don't idolize teenagers that are dumb, please. Thank you. See, I'm reading through this list and there are so many takes that are just insert popular level is bad, and it's just... Anyway, that's all the interesting ones that I got. There were a lot of really bad takes that were just, hey, I don't like popular level, which is kind of cringe, I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. I had a good time. I'll see you guys around. Eat your green salad, stay hydrated. Thank you for making my day better. Hope my ears a little bit better too. If you want to see this again, let me know. Join my Discord server if you want to do this in the future. And next time, please don't put good level equals bad, because those takes are lame. Anyway, I'll see you guys around. Take care, everyone.